In this video, we're going to look at options for making PDFs readable. So I'm talking about two things here. One is performing optical character recognition, which basically means if you have a PDF or an image, it has text on it, but that text is not actually rendered as text. Basically, it's just an image, so you can't select the text. How do we get that in so that we can copy it? More importantly, so that we can search it and things like that. The other case is when we have a PDF with a table in it, can we get that table, say, into Excel so that we can work with it? So I'm just going to go through a few examples and two different tools that we would use to do this. The good news is that Adobe Acrobat, the newest version, does a pretty good job of both of these tasks. So let's say I just have a file, and this is just a JPEG, so this is an image, and that means I can't select this text. But in Acrobat, and I'm working in Acrobat Pro DC, if you come over to the side here to edit PDF, on my computer, it automatically scans the text, or we say OCR the text. You have an option right here if you need it for recognize text, and you'll see that pretty quickly this is now selectable. I can save this out as a PDF, and really quickly we can look at whether it did a good job or not. So I'm going to copy this and just paste it into Word. So obviously the accuracy of OCR is going to depend a lot on the document that you give it. This is a pretty good scan, it's not too bad, so we get really good OCR here. Obviously if this was a lower quality scan, some fonts are harder to OCR than others, handwriting obviously isn't really going to work, but for things like this it's a really simple fix. So let's look at one more. All right, so here's another example that is a little bit lower quality scan, but in this one it's already OCR'd for me. And what I might want to do here is I might want to be able to edit this in Excel, or say I want to total some numbers, something like that. So again, Acrobat DC makes this pretty easy for us in a lot of cases. And what I can do is File, Export to, Spreadsheet, Microsoft Excel Workbook, and it's just going to save this as an Excel file. And if we open it up, we'll see this actually does a pretty good job. It might not be perfect, right? We might want to do a little bit of cleanup, but it's pretty good. I don't know why this is down here, but that's the easiest way to do this. Let's look at another one. All right, so here's one that's a little bit rougher. But again, it's already OCR'd. We can select it. And let's see how we do if we export this to Excel. Export to, Spreadsheet, Excel. And this looks really good to me. So let's see, saving in MS Word, I've got pluses all the way across. This looks like a very good export to me. Let's see, we're going to do a couple more. So these are ones that I've gotten from students. So here is some appraisal district information. And this is a really bad table. Okay, so this really isn't even a table, by which I just mean that we don't have good rows and columns. It's almost like it's a series of little tables here, right? So this one's going to be harder, and we can see what happens. So if we export this to Excel, okay, so this is pretty bad. It's decided to just give me 5 columns. because it didn't really understand that this is a thing and this is a thing and this is a thing. So let's try this in another tool. A lot of times Acrobat is going to be your best option, but there are some times when other tools are useful and it's worth trying. So Tabula is free, you can download it online, and it's going to open in your browser when it opens, like this. And all we'll do is find the PDF that we want to load, import it, and then we will just drag a box around the table that we want, and you can adjust it if you need to, and preview what the data is going to look like. So this still isn't great by any means, but this might be better than what Excel gave us. And if we like this, we can export it to a format that we want to. And let's look at just one last one. All right. So this is another one that I expected to be pretty bad because it's not a very good scan, right? I've got some backgrounds here. It just doesn't look like it's quite as high quality to me. But let's see what Acrobat does with it. So if we export it to Excel, and then we can take a look at what we have. Okay, so this actually looks surprisingly good to me. So there's obviously stuff we need to clean up all throughout. This kind of stuff you'll see pretty frequently, and it's when you start getting lower quality text like this, especially when we have these darker ones, right? So elevation on post is probably one of these that's totally lost, I'm guessing. But if you needed to, you could go in and clean this up. It really just depends on the scale of what you're working with and whether it's worth it to clean it up or to create it from scratch. So those are two options for getting PDFs that you can't edit and turning them into something that you can edit.